Hello, and welcome to the Global DIY Network, and to this, my 17th interview in the series Meet the CEOs of the leading home improvement companies from around the world. My name is John Herbert, and I'm the General Secretary of EDRA, the European DIY Retail Association, and of GIN, the Global Home Improvement Network. Together, these two associations have 217 members, operating in 74 countries, with over 33,000 stores and members' sales in excess of 330 billion euro. I would now like to welcome all our EDRA members, wherever you may be, and the members of our partner association, HEMA, the Home Improvement Manufacturers Association, also with global members. I would like to welcome the sponsors and the delegates already registered for our most successful Global DIY Summit, to be held in Copenhagen from the 8th to the 10th of June this year. Now, before I introduce my interview partner, I would like to say that our thoughts today are with the people in Ukraine. It is tragic to see their cities being destroyed and their people being killed by the might of the Russian army. We do hope this soon ends and that peace will again prevail. So again, particularly with Epicenter, our member in Ukraine, we're very sad to hear the news, and we hope you're all keeping well. But now it is, for me, a very great pleasure to introduce the CEO of one of the largest companies in Japan with 500 stores. It is President Naotaro Hikida. So may I please welcome President Hikida. Good afternoon, sir.
Nice to meet you, John. I'm glad to be here. First of all, I'd like to share our company and the Japanese market presentation because I'm not used to speak English in public. I'll let Ms. Henry do the presentation for me. I'll see you in the Q&A session later.
Okay, thank you very much indeed. And now Mrs. Henry is going to give the presentation.
Hello, nice to meet you, John. I'm Tokuko Henry. I'm a personal assistant of Mr. Naotaro Hikida. Today, I'm going to do a presentation for you guys. So I'm going to share the PowerPoint of ours. Okay, in my presentation, I'm going to talk about the COVID-19 situation in Japan. Next, I'll discuss market trends of the Japanese home improvement industry. Then I'll give an introduction of the Conan Group. First, let's talk about the COVID-19 situation in Japan. After the fifth wave of COVID-19 in Japan, the number of infections had steadily declined since last October. However, there is growing concern about the surge of the Omicron variant since the new year. The number of new infections per day has now spiked to 16,000 cases. Next, I'll show you the market trends of the Japanese home improvement industry. The total revenue of the market had remained more or less unchanged for 15 years. Until 2019. The sales per store had been about 7.6 million US, which had also been stable. In 2020, the sales of the market increased by 8% due to COVID-19. The sales per store also increased by 7% to be 8 million US. Consumer demand for disinfectants, DIY, gardening, and pet supplies were main drivers of the market. Let's move on to Conan's sales trend. The total revenue of fiscal year 2020 was 3,883 million US. Our number of stores was 481 at the end of fiscal year 2020. At present, Conan Group's number of stores has exceeded 500. Our market share increased from 7.3% in 2015 to 10% in 2020. Next, I'll briefly speak about the 4 key issues facing the Japanese home improvement industry today. Our industry has been growing for about the past 50 years. Now it's facing 4 key issues. So now let's see the data regarding the first issue. As I mentioned earlier, the Japanese home improvement industry market had remained more or less unchanged since 2005. On the other hand, the number of stores has been increasing and is now 20% higher than 2005. This situation is plain and simply store oversaturation. Let's move on to the second issue. Stores in our industry in Japan continue to imitate one another. That is why almost all home centers in Japan look pretty much the same. Today, in light of store oversaturation, we have to distinguish ourselves. Moreover, our competitors exist in all retail markets and even in others: supermarkets, electric appliance stores, convenience stores, furniture, interior shops, or e-commerce platforms. We're now faced with borderless and fierce competition. We need to create a new business format for consumers. The third issue is population decline in Japan. The population of Japan has been declining year by year. It is predicted to be less than 100 million people in 2055. The number of working age people and the number of people over age 65 are getting closer. That is a very critical situation. The fourth issue facing our industry, oligopoly. The 3 issues I have discussed so far have led to another issue, which is oligopoly in the industry. About two companies out of 5 closed down their business over the past 10 years. This situation is an indication of the plight of the Japanese home improvement industry. Now I'll talk about our history, our business formats, and our activities. Konan Shoji Company Limited was established in 1978. Then in 2000, we started the direct import of products from overseas, and that improved our profit rate. That same year, we opened our first Konan Pro store. In 2016, we expanded our business into overseas markets. Since 2017, we have started mergers and acquisitions. Now I'll discuss each of our business formats one by one. First, our main store format, home center. At our home centers, we deal in all different products: DIY supplies available in the home improvement section, plants, horticultural supplies, and gardening products in the green section, home renovation or remodeling in the reform section, pet supplies. Car and leisure includes auto accessories, bicycles, and outdoor products. Kitchen, household, interior, furniture, and electric supplies are all categorized in the housekeeping section. Here is a view of our basic home improvement section. In addition, we have a section of DIY products called DIY renovation. We have a variety of handy products to make your DIY life enjoyable. This DIY Labo. This is a free rental space we provide for DIY beginners or people who don't have enough space for DIY at their homes. We have been increasing the number of these spaces in our stores. The customers can enjoy their DIY without worrying about tools, making noise, dust, or stains. We hope to be able to provide events or workshops more actively when the COVID situation improves and things gets back to be normal. This is a workwear corner we call crosswear. Next is the flower and plants corner. We call it gardens. Next, this is another section called Konan de Reform. Recently, we have been enhancing our home renovation services. We have a showroom space in a store, as you can see. At our corner counter, we take orders from contractors for installing or assembling equipment. We also have been expanding our renovation service called Custom Reform. By offering our remodeling proposals, this service covers a wider range of customers' needs, including full home remodeling. We're aiming to be a general remodeling and renovation company, which can take orders on large-scale construction projects. This is the pet supply section, which is one of our strongest categories. In some of our stores, we have an animal clinic too. Next, car and leisure. We have a section called outdoor. We sell basic products for camping here. This is Cycle Plaza, where bicycle-related products and repair services are provided. Our housekeeping section includes kitchenware, interior products, and furniture. We also have an electric appliance section in our housekeeping category. It is called Natoku Karen. We're selling electric products of both national brands and a private brand. They're all available at reasonable prices in the same corner. Now let's move on to another store format, Konan Pro. Konan Pro is our store for professional customers, stocked with a wide range of specialist items, including building materials, paint, and other work supplies. The hours of operation are earlier than home centers. The varieties of products are also different from home center stores. After 20 years, our number of Pro stores has exceeded 100. And this business format has now become a key growth driver of our group. Next, Camp Depot is our new business format. We established in 2020. We are operating a total of 6 Camp Depot stores. Because of COVID-19, outdoor activities are more popular now. One example is solo camping. We believe that Camp Depot can meet the solo campers' demand. Camp Depot is not just a specialty shop selling camping products. We will be proposing a full lineup of products and services to maximize the fun of camping for everybody. Next, I'm going to talk about our online business. We started our e-commerce called Konan eShop in 2003. The sales continue to increase. The sales of 2020 were 37.8% higher than the previous year. We will keep focusing on customer convenience and improving our services. Let me now introduce our group companies. We began mergers and acquisitions in 2017. In 2017, we acquired the home center Beaver Tozan. In 2019, we acquired Ken Depot Pro to enhance our business for the professional market. Ken Depot Pro operates a membership-based wholesale business of building materials for professionals. In 2020, we acquired Deutsch Company Limited, home centers business and home remodeling business. Those 3 companies are all based in the eastern part of Japan. These acquisitions were big steps for us to strengthen our market share in eastern Japan and in the Tokyo metropolitan area. I'd like to introduce another one of our group companies, which is based overseas. This is Conan Vietnam Company Limited. We opened our very first store in Vietnam in 2016. Now, there are 8 stores in Vietnam, 2 stores in North Vietnam, and 6 stores in South. During this pandemic, Conan Vietnam has been facing a more severe lockdowns and quarantines than Japan. However, we believe Vietnam and other Southeast Asian countries still have greater market potential. So we'll keep opening our stores in that area and striving to fulfill the needs of customers across the region. Now I'll talk about our products. Conan has these 4 private store brands. We have been pursuing quality and originality with our products. The products under our private brands guarantee a gross margin. This fact has broadened our business scope. Currently, we have distributing our products to other retailers as a wholesale business. Finally, I'll talk about our actions for Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs. Today, SDGs have become a part of our business strategies. We intend to do as much as we can do as a retailer by taking advantage of the space at our physical stores. For example, we're making efforts to expand the solar panel systems on the roofs of our stores. Also, for years, we have been preserving the forest known as Honan DIY Forest in Wakayama Prefecture. As one of our responsibilities to society, we will aim to keep our stores open as long as possible. Our role is to support our customers' life, especially in the state of emergency. Something like life infrastructure. To supply emergency relief goods to areas of need, we have set up our own distribution system. As of September 2021, we have made cooperation agreements on disaster management with 45 local governments. In closing, I'll talk about our future with DIY. We opened our booth in Kitsania, Koshien, in Japan in 2019. Kids can make their original coasters there. At the end of the workshop session, we'll tell the kids like this: the coaster you just made is the only one of its kind in the world. It is very special and it is uniquely yours. So we hope you will use it with good care and repair it so you can continue using it for a long time. That's what DIY means. We think this is a part of retailers' responsibilities to ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. We really hope future generations will understand this concept of DIY and live a more sustainable life. Thank you.
Well, Mrs. Henry, thank you very, very much indeed for a most professional, if I may say, a most professional presentation. And I'm sure that people all over the world will be most interested to see just what you're doing at Conan. So thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much, John. So I'll pass this to Hikida.
Okay. Yes, President Hikida, welcome. Before I start, I would just like to say that in 2018, as you know, the Edrigin, our association, we had our very first study tour to Japan. And I must really say that the standards of detail are in Japan the very best I've ever seen. And all the Japanese stores really reflected the very, very high standard. And so I can only recommend anybody in the industry who is not in Japan to look at the Japanese market. We can always learn from each other. And I think in Japan, particularly when it comes to the fine detail. So, Mr. President Hikida, we can now start with the first question. We always talk with the pandemic because it's been with us for 2 years, but we heard today that it's really waning now in Europe. people are not seeing the danger of the pandemic anymore. The new variant is not considered to be very dangerous. So it would appear that the whole of Europe is now beginning to open up, and thank goodness for that. So my very first question to you, Mr. President, is what is the situation for the COVID-19 in Japan today?
After the first wave of COVID-19 in Japan, the number of infections had steadily declining since last October. However, there is growing concern about the surge of Omicron variant after the turn of the year. The number of new infections per day has been spiked to 50,000 cases now. About 80% of Japanese people are pre-vaccinated. Health workers are receiving booster shots now, and boosters are also expected to start for the elder people soon.
So, yeah, so very similar. So how is your company coping with the COVID-19?
To prevent the spread of COVID-19, we have been taking some countermeasures at our stores. Our store associates are all very vigilant on mask wearing, hand gel dispensers placed at the store entrance, ventilation in the stores, floor sign is in front of cashiers to maintain the social distance between customers. Transparent screen installed at cashiers and using a small tray to indirectly hand the change to customers. We have offered the vaccination to the employees of the head office and the store located near there. We also have provided paid leave for vaccination to all of our employees in order to encourage them to get vaccinated.
Okay, so really very, very similar to what's happening in Europe. I'm very pleased to hear that you're still wearing masks, you're doing protective, the virus is not gone. And I think particularly here in Germany, when you go in the store, everybody's wearing masks and everything, and I'm very pleased to hear that too. So, but we've seen a boom in sales. So how have your sales been impacted in COVID-19? And how would you see the sales trending in 2022?
In 2020, there was increased consumer demand for masks and disinfectants such as hand sanitizer, which made up the greater portion of our sales increase. In 2021, there was no similar sales impact. How office furniture sales surged in 2020 due to the boom in working from home. However, those sales are new declining. Other sales of DIY, gardening, or pet supplies has been continuously strong and increasing. We expect that trend will continue this year as well. The total revenue of this fiscal year through February hasn't been confirmed yet, but it's expected to remain flat compared to the previous year.
Okay, again, you've got the same situation all over the world, that the sales have been very, very good in the pandemic. If there's anything good, there's nothing good come out of this pandemic, but the sales have been very buoyant in DIY stores. And it seems that everybody is not expecting a very good year 2022. As you say, it could remain flat and without any increase, but still it is better than what it was before pre-pandemic times. So what have you learned, Mr. President Hikida, from this pandemic?
We are reaffirmed what our role is as a Japanese home center. We recognize that dealing critical products to the daily life of our customers makes us an essential part of their lives, even in a state of emergency. State of staying home gives us a new point of view about our mission as a retail tool. Besides the essential product, we also sell items related to DIY, gardening, pet supply, or interior products. Those items can spice up customers' lifestyle or fulfill the daily lives. We have all learned what to do to prevent the spread of COVID-19 at our stores as well as in our offices. Besides the countermeasures I already mentioned, it has required us to make new rules to protect our associates from the risk of infections while keeping our store safely open as long as possible.
Yeah, very good to hear about how you're protecting your employees and what we've learned from this pandemic on there. But the other good thing, of course, is that online sales has boomed everywhere. We were caught a little bit, we were caught a little bit in the home improvement industry when the pandemic came. Amazon was very far away and doing remarkably well. But in the last 2 years, the whole home improvement industry has made immense steps on online sales and doing well. So how has the online business been with you?
Yes, we do. Our online sales of 2021 have increased by 80% compared to the pre-pandemic. We do our domestic online business, both on our own site, called Corner eShop, under the Japanese online shopping site, like Amazon Japan, under the local platform. Speaking of international e-commerce, we have our page on Tmall, which is run by Alibaba Group. Since last year, we have also set up a page on other Alibaba Group site. Lazada.com, the largest e-commerce platform in Southeast Asia.
Well, that's amazing to see you've had an 80% increase in sales. And so how did you manage to cope with this extra demand on online sales?
While increasing the hit count of our site on search engine, we are trying to make shopping experience as seamless as possible for customers, leading our customers to our e-commerce site through our application and social networking service. Now, we are including the varieties of items with QR code on the shelves at our physical stores. When customers want to see actual items, they come to our store and take a look at it and then scan the QR code to go to our e-commerce site. We are also providing click and collect service. That is to say, we are trying to combine our online stores to our physical stores so our customers can interact freely between those shopping sites.
Okay, well, thank you. So what is your percentage of online sales compared to your whole business?
About 1% of our sales is online so far.
Wow.
The target of our online sales is 5.5% in near future.
Well, yeah, 1% of course is not very much, and I think there's a lot of scope to come in the future. If you're at 1%, the average, well, there isn't an average, I suppose, really, but if I would say in Europe, I think it's about 6 to 8% now since the pandemic has started. So I think you've got a lot of room for an improvement. And I know that Japan was a little bit behind on the online sales compared to the USA and to America. So I wish you continued success in that. So you have 500 stores now with online sales obviously going to increase in the future. And so how do you see it for the future? And will you need so much physical selling space in the future?
Yes, we have over 500 total stores as Conan Group. We'll continue to strategically open new stores. We believe the physical store is fulfilling its role as a place where customers can see the actual items, consult with the salespeople face-to-face, pick up ordered products at home pace. Our nationwide store network can be used to ensure the benefit and the convenience of our customers' online shopping needs. This means we will optimize the function of our physical store and use them like that store.
Yeah, this is my 17th CEO's interview, and every CEO I've asked the same question, and everybody is very positive about physical stores going forward. It seems to be that the message for tomorrow is you need online sales, but you need physical stores, and everybody has really very firmly said that the physical stores are going to be very, very important in the future. So let us now move along, and again, I saw very, very happy employees on the study tour when I was in Japan. So how do you communicate your concept with your associates?
All of our executive members have weekly face-to-face meetings. My office door is usually open unless I have a visitor, so associates can drop by without a hesitation at any time they want. I don't think there are any time that I alone in this office. I meet directly with all of our area manager once a month to get detailed update on our stores. Ideally, I'd like to communicate with each associate individually, but of course, I cannot do that. But I try to visit as many of our stores as possible, in addition to appearing in our in-house media, like our company newsletter or video message.
So again, I think that our associates have been wonderful in this pandemic. They've really kept the business going very, very well. And the attitude from what I've heard everywhere has been very positive. So what is your company doing to improve the working conditions of your employees?
We've been improving our pay system, retirement benefit under the allowances. On example, is our employees' stock ownership plan, which increases our retirement benefit. We've kept improving these policies to ensure our employees' well-being and work satisfaction. Of course, these are welcome for improvement for our employees, but we still want to step forward. That is why we are also dealing with the fundamental issues that focus on real employee satisfaction. Health management of employees from a corporate management perspective is one of them. Besides that, we are striving for operational efficiency and simplification by using digital solutions to reduce the total workload. We want our employees to use this generated surplus working time and energy toward our customer satisfaction, which will provide a feel of fairness for shopping as retail company. We believe that is a real source of long-lasting satisfaction for our employees as well, that will promote their engagement.
So really, in the last 2 years, our business has improved, but also I believe the working conditions of our associates has also been improved. And so I think we've raised the bar, in fact, not only on our customer acceptance, but also for our work employees. So the other major problem facing the world today, of course, is climate change. And so when it comes to the corporate social responsibility, that the world is suffering from climate change, what is your company doing to improve the situation and looking forward to a more greener future?
We, of course, use LED lights at all of our stores to ensure continuous power saving. Besides that, we began a joint delivery operation, sharing delivery truck with other retail to slash trucks CO2 emission. We are also trying to optimize the use of large space in our stores and warehouse, installing solar panel systems on roofs, or having EV charging station in our store parking space. As far as recycling, we collect our customers with products and send them to the material recycling companies. One of the examples is a recycled cardboard bag. We are partnering with a paper company to recycle boxes used for the packaging and delivery in the bed. We keep the stock of this bed at our warehouse in the event of a disaster. With respect to the environment, we have also been engaged tree planting for many years.
So this is very nice to hear what you're doing on corporate social responsibility. Our experience were that Japan was a little bit behind on what people were doing on climate change and corporate social responsibility. And I know our Japanese members have been particularly interested to learning from what other people are doing from America to Europe to improve their corporate social responsibility. So, so what is, we saw that in your excellent presentation. So what is Conan doing to support the communities in which you operate?
We constantly donate a certain amount of money to an educational fund base in our local community. We also work with local government through cooperation agreement on disaster management to deliver rapid disaster relief to places in need. We also have an agreement of reducing disposable plastics.
Okay, this is a longer question. Modern slavery, child labor, and poor working conditions are still present in third world countries. So what is your company doing to prevent these conditions in your supply chain?
Unfortunately, we haven't yet been able to take direct action on these issues. We do make sure to only engage in importing products to assure all suppliers don't violate any compliance with the natural and working environment. We will closely monitor those procedures in our supply chain.
Well, thank you for being very honest about that. You're saying you really haven't really taken a lot of action, but again, we as an association and network, we can certainly help you on that. So we're now coming, is Conan taking part in any initiative to reduce carbon emissions?
Not yet. And we have not been able to set specific goals and work on reducing carbon emissions. But as I answered in a previous question, we use eco-friendly lights to joint delivery, use solar panel systems on the roof of our stores, have EV charging stations, and do recycling. We believe all of these efforts can contribute to reducing carbon emissions to some extent.
Well, again, you say you've not really started doing a lot on the climate change, but again, we at Edgerton this year, 2022, and in the future, we are really going to concentrate on this. We see this as a major issue affecting the planet. We must do our part. We're in a wonderful position because we build houses, we have people with their homes, and we believe that we can take a bit of a lead in this corporate social responsibility in reducing climate change. And again, we will look very much forward to working with the Japanese people on this behalf. So, Conan announced last year to set a goal to reach its net sales of 500 billion yen in the fiscal year 2025. That's a big leap. Would you give a picture how you came to this figure?
We have 5 strategies to achieve goal by the fiscal year of 2025. Development of our private brand products, improving our store operation efficiency, development of human resource, development of new store format, digital transformation of store operation. We will carry out these strategies while embracing the vantage point of the customer side rather than seller's side. By improving on what we have done in the past, we are aiming to be a general company for home and living in the future.
Well, I wish you very much success in your aims to achieve this goal. And of course, part of achieving it is overseas development. Conan is the first Japanese company to enter Vietnam and currently operates 8 stores. Many companies have had their fingers burnt by going into other countries, and you are also aggressively expanding your own online business in Southeast Asia on the largest e-commerce platform, Lazada, in this region. What have you learned so far in the Southeast Asian market compared to the Japanese market? And what is your future developing plan?
It's been 5 years since we established Conan Vietnam in 2016. We opened our very first overseas stores in Vietnam because Vietnam is one of the most pro-Japanese countries. Their culture is pretty close to ours, and it's politically stable. Other aspects like GDP, growth rate, population, and younger average age were also attractive enough for our new market goal. Through this initiative, we have learned that Vietnamese consumers have a high tendency to buy Japanese products, which makes it easier for us to operate store in the country. In my experience, this tendency exists not only in Vietnam, but also in most of the Southeast Asian countries. Speaking of the product, at the store, we sell some of the same Japanese private label items in Vietnam as we do in Japan. The temperature in Vietnam doesn't change much throughout the year. Because of this, sale of certain items were summer of 8 stores in Vietnam is far more than the total sales of 400 stores in Japan. We learned a lot from this market, and there is no doubt the market will continue growing in the future. So we will continue to expand our overseas business in Southeast Asia. We don't think the ASEAN market, country by country, as Cambodia is located in the Southern Economic Corridor, it is an important country. The home improvement industry in both Vietnam and Cambodia is still less competitive, and the economic has been growing. We are expecting its sales will keep increasing in the next decade or even longer.
Well, I wish you a lot of success in your expansion in overseas, and see how it develops. So that was really all my questions. I've got 2 questions from the audience that's come in. The first question is from Rainer Sternhardt, who is the managing editor of the Dana Verlag, the DIY International. Could you give a short overview about the sales figures of the Japanese home improvement retail industry in 2021? And how do you see 2022?
Sales in the home improvement category, both DIY and professional, were strong in 2021, and the sales share increased by 1.5%. This is at least partly because customer lifestyle changed due to COVID-19. We are anticipating this trend to continue in 2022. We hope to create more opportunities to directly connect with our customers through DIY events under the concept of living with Corona.
Okay, so really 1.5% increase. When we saw your presentation, the chart of all the Japanese sales, very stable, nothing really high and up and down. It was very, very going almost in a straight line with only a slight increase, but of course at a very buoyant market. So thank you very much. The second question is from Thierry Koman, who is the former chairman of the Belgium DIY Association and the author of Hammer Time. Conan operates the Japanese DIY market with 3 dynamic store concepts, of which 2 are rather hybrid, DIY versus pro. Per definition, both concepts on 2 different target groups. Some global players such as Home Depot, Lowe's and Bunnings have been operating for years with an integrated model where individual and pro stores come under the same roof. To what extent is Conan thinking of moving in that direction? At the moment, you've got the 2, you've got separate. So, yeah, what are you doing in that direction in the future?
Our company's approach so far has been operating our home center stores and pro stores separately. However, as we continue to consider the convenience for both target customer groups, it may become more practical to move toward combine those two stores concepts into one building under one roof. With this in mind, last year, we opened one hybrid model store as an experiment with this strategy.
Okay, so you're really moving in that direction that you may in future also have these combination like we do in Europe. Okay, well, we're coming almost to the end of this interview, President Hikida, and I've got one. You've been an active member of our association since 2015. We had the pleasure of welcoming us all when we came to Japan on the study tour. And you also come to our Global DIY Summit, which this year we're going to hold in Copenhagen. Is there any comments you'd like about Edrigin and about this event?
Barcelona was my first global DIY summit. I was really rewarding for me to able to get new point of view from all different types of CEOs in the global home improvement industry. Not only Japanese CEOs, but also from other countries. I was really impressed with their success stories, and it was pretty interesting for me to find the differences between stores in Japan and other countries. I believe we can see you again in person at the Global DIY Summit in Copenhagen.
Well, it was so very, very nice to see so many Japanese people coming. Are you coming to Copenhagen this year? Are you coming? Maybe. Okay. Okay. So the last question, the closing question is now, you've been the president of Conan for some time now. What has been your major challenges as CEO in this position?
6 months after I became the president, I had to face a big issue. Some of our private label products violated the Japanese regulation. I deeply regretted that we have been negligent at certain regulation regarding product quality. That situation brought a lot of trouble to our customers as well as some of our business partners. I learned that getting back customer trust was much harder than we had imagined. That terrible experiment taught me how we should develop our private label product and how we need to make a strong commitment to quality and quality control.
Well, thank you very much for sharing this experience. It just shows it must have been a nightmare 6 months into the business and then having this problem of private label products violated a Japanese electric regulation and trying to get back the trust of the people. And I think by sharing this information in these webinars, I think this is very good for all our members to hear, to make sure that nothing happens like for them in the future. So we have come to the end of this interview, Mr. President Hikida. Are there any other comments you'd like? We always like to give you the last word. Is there any comments you'd like to make about this interview?
I appreciate you inviting me to this Mr. CEO's program today. There might have been some parts you could hardly understand because of my English, but it was a great opportunity and challenge for me to talk in English today. In closing, I would like to say thank you and all audience. ありがとうございました。
Well, I think we should really thank you, Mr. President Hikida, because I know this is your very first interview in English, to which we very much appreciate. It came over very clearly on your presentation, what your company is and the questions and you answered today. So all I would say on behalf of all the viewers from around the world who've been watching this webinar today, or we're going to follow it afterwards, may we say thank you very much indeed. We wish you continued success, and thank you very much indeed for being with us today. And I know it's almost 7 o'clock in the evening, or it's gone 7 o'clock in the evening, so you're going to now enjoy dinner, and we're just starting in Europe, and they're just getting out of bed in America. So thank you very much indeed. Have a very good day, and wish you continued success. And thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Well, thank you very much indeed, Mr. Hikida. And now I'd just like to tell you about the next session on this Global DIY Network. It is on March the 14th. Ken Hughes, who is the consumer and shopping behaviorist and probably one of the leading experts in consumer behavior that I know. And he's going to interview Stefan Brinkhoff, the co-founder of the CTO of Locandis GmbH. They're going to talk about how location-based marketing at the point of sale influences customer behavior. Well, that's all from me. I appreciate that, again, Mr. Hikida, and for doing this and trying so very hard and doing so very well with the English language. Thank you very much for joining us today. I hope you've enjoyed being part of it, and we all look forward, of course, to all our members, wherever you may be, and all those people who are going to attend the Global Summit. Let us all hope that we're going to have a really cracking Global DIY Summit in Copenhagen in June. And this we are very much looking forward to. So thank you very much indeed. Have a very good day. And from me, John Herbert, speaking to you from Germany, goodbye, and President Hikida, thank you very much indeed. Goodbye, and thank you.